Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. We have here a little situation because it's little. We shouldn't have had this situation if we would have protected our soul as a nation, as a country. But it seems like we have a lot of traitors among us, let's put it this way, who would like to change our civilization and our culture. And it's a little how should I put it, competition. It's a little friction between cultures who are living on the same territory. We are told that diversity is our strength. Well, this is an example where I don't think it's our strength, because I don't think diversity in this case is a strength. I think it's a weakness. It's a reason for friction, for conflict. So let me show you what happened. We have an article coming from CNN, and we have the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Nation is an American Indian uh, tribe, nation, and it objects and finds unacceptable that a mission conducted by some Americans to the moon, a flight to the moon to bury some cremated human remains, is unacceptable for their culture, therefore should not be done. Well, obviously, that's the Navajo people's objection and unacceptable view. My culture or civilization's acceptable view is we can do what the fuck ever we want on the moon, kind of. And we have an understanding that we can't really claim it for our country, you can't really claim it for your country. But then, if you can get there, kind of like you do whatever you want, who's going to stop you? Now, this is a little friction. Let me read you the article here, or parts of the article coming from CNN, January 6, 2024. Navajo Nation's objection to landing human remains on the moon prompts last-minute White House meeting. Imagine that. Imagine that this would have happened, setting aside the moon landing, 100 years ago. What do you think the White House would have done? Pop, pop. Well, at that time, this country had different spirit. These guys are trying to cut our balls off. So now the Navajo Nation, an Indian tribe, objects, finds it unacceptable. All right, let's read further. The White House has convened a last-minute meeting to discuss a private mission to the moon. So the White House discusses a private mission to the moon set to launch in days after the largest group of the Native Americans in the United States asked the administration to delay the flight. They didn't ask, I will show you the words. Because it will be carrying cremated human remains destined for a lunar burial. So, well, I tell you what the problem is. If successful, the commercial mission scheduled to launch Monday, dubbed Peregrine Mission 1, will be the first time an United States of America, made spacecraft has landed on the lunar surface since the end of the Apollo program in 1972. But Navajo Nation President Boo Nugren said that allowing the remains to touch down there would be an affront to many indigenous cultures, which revere the moon. Okay, we don't revere the moon. What do you want me to do? And I'm quoting, the moon holds a sacred place in Navajo cosmology, not in our civilization. Nigren said in a Thursday statement, and I'm quoting, the suggestion of transforming it into a resting place for human remains is deeply disturbing and unacceptable. They don't accept that. And that's it, man. They don't accept it. To our people and many other tribal nations. All right, so your culture finds that insulting and not okay. My culture doesn't find that insulting and not okay. What should we do? Well, definitely you are a very tolerant nation, so you would just say, in the name of tolerance, we're gonna have no problem doing that. But no, you said it's unacceptable. How are you gonna stop this? How? All right, we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. Let's move on and read the answer of the Weasels, which is the guys who wants to launch the spacecraft. We are aware of the concerns expressed by Mr. Nguyen. That's how they would talk. Let's consider that 100 years. We are aware of the concerns, but we do not find them substantive. I would say we don't even care. That's how I would say. Because you, based on some of your culture, cosmology, telling me that it's unacceptable for me to do something against my cosmology. Why would I bend for you? Why wouldn't you bend for me? You will anyway, unless these guys lost their balls totally. And I'm quoting, we reject the assertion that our memorial spaceflight mission desecrates the moon, just as permanent memorials for the deceased are present all over planet Earth and not considered desecration. Our memorial on the moon is handled with care and reverence. It is a permanent monument that does not intentionally eject flight capsules on the moon. It is a touching and fitting celebration for our participants, the exact opposite of desecration. It is a celebration. Well, that's how weak people talk. Strong people would say, let's go. Don't even care. Why? Because this Navajo nation would like to impose its culture on our civilization. Why? If we're gonna take, let's take it objectively, if we would take into consideration each village's traditions and whatever they consider insulting or not, and what they consider unacceptable, we would not do anything. I'm not going to go into where Navajo were when we found them and the moon. After all, I don't even know how they expressed the existence of the moon. What was exactly the moon? God's eye? Or it was just a, I don't know, whatever, yellow pie or something. That's the Europeans, right? Doesn't really matter. Let's put this into practice. We have here a little conflict between two cultures. Actually, one culture and one civilization. And don't feel offended, don't be offended. Go and read what a culture is and what the civilization is. And yes, Navajo Nation was a culture, not a civilization. According to us. Why? Because we said so. Why? We thought it. We thought that. Okay? So, what should we do now? Imagine this. We are on a savannah. And over there, there's a lion and a hyena. What do you think they will do? And they are on the same place, the savannah. And let's say they get in a conflict. Do you think that the lion will do what the hyena wants? Or the coyote or the jackal, whatever? No, it's going to be the other way around. And you know what? If they're going to get in a conflict, the coyote or whatever, the hyena, will use any means to harm the lion. And the lion will do the same thing. And after the lion will kill the hyena, will win the conflict, let's put it this way, is not going to feel sorry whatsoever. Because that's what nature is. The strong beats the weak. The strong doesn't live because the weak tell them so. And that was in the case of Navajo Nation, which came from somewhere else in 1400, according to history. Hey, you know what history is? That is, history is when we have documentation, written documentation. So who wrote the history? The guys who invented, certain things. Now, let's see. I looked into Navajo, just for you, not for me. So Navajo, and I went here, history. And what's interesting is right here, archaeological and historical evidence done by whom? By the lion or by the hyena? Suggests that the ancestors of Navajos and Apaches arrived in the southwest around 1400 Anno Domini. So in the year 1400, they appeared, according to evidence we found out, and not stories, from on the southwest. From where and what did they find? The Navajo oral tradition. Why was it oral? Because they didn't have writing. Is transcribed to retain references to the migration. Okay. So they migrated from one place and came to another. They settled. Weren't the Europeans settling in the, or the Navajo found the area empty? Remember, we are told that when the Spaniards came here, they found a lot of American Indians everywhere, everywhere. But somehow Navajo must have found an empty space. I tell you what happened. We know what happened. Some tribes pushed other tribes and took their land, and then other tribes came and pushed them. The stronger, the lion, pushed the hyena to the side. They didn't interact. You know what? I found you here, but you know what? Let's talk about it. Even the Navajo, when they could. When they couldn't, they got beaten. Now, what are we going to do? They came from somewhere, landed on somewhere, most likely conquering other Indian Americans, or found an empty land. Did they? I don't think so. But anyway, we don't know because they don't have, they talk about the migration. So maybe in their oral tradition we find out who they met and who they, I don't know, maybe scalped. I have no idea. And I don't even wanna, because the lion doesn't ask the hyena if he's hungry or are you okay, do you feel, no. If the roles will be reversed, the, how do you call it, the immigration, the settlement of the Navajos would have been carried the same way, just take over. My point is this. We can't really take into consideration any culture, any, tradition, because we wouldn't be doing anything then. And the problem is, these guys at the White House discussed what the Navajo said because of the moon. Do you own the moon? Are we allowed to look at it? Maybe, I don't know, we have a tribe somewhere that it says that if we dare to look at the moon, that's insulting. You understand? And besides, actually, this planet, the world, belongs to Xerxes, to the Iranians, to the Persians. Why? Because they were called the kings of kings, the gods. So if they were the gods of the universe, that actually belongs to the Iranians. And if you are a god, like certain things are there are gods, what does that mean? That you own the planet, everything. So you see, you have culture and culture, this kind of superstitions. I thought we were done with them about, at least I thought in my civilization, that we got rid of in about 2,400 years ago, when the ancient Greeks, the philosophers, those scientists, realized that the thunderbolt was not Zeus, but it was just a phenomenon, natural phenomenon. I thought we got rid of superstitions, but no, we build this and we build that. And now we hear from a tradition, oral tradition, that actually we, another culture, we can't do that, another civilization, a civilization, we can't go over there because it's offensive and unacceptable, says to the lion. When the lion will be eaten by another lion, he's not going to be pushed away, he's going to be conquered. The same is going on right now. Our culture gets conquered from within. Because you see, we somehow are conditioned to accept new rules. Like, for instance, truth is too hurtful, insensitive. You should be kind. So we see, instead of saying, no, you lied, They're not going to be focused on, hey, wait, is it true? You called him a liar. They will be focused on your tone. And they will try to look down on you and call you names, attack you, because you applied our norms, which is, hey, truth, not kindness. Oh, you're not kind. You're not supposed to call him a liar, but he's a liar. Your tone, you're so insensitive. You're a bad dude. Yeah, but he lied. No, but you called him like that. You understand? These guys are trying to disarm us because we're weak and they can't compete. That's the only reason. And somehow we allow ourselves to, for instance, be educated in speech because we have a speech police and a thought police. You're not allowed to say midget anymore. Offensive. Well, I don't think it's offensive. You think it's offensive? That's your problem. Or you call me fucking immigrant? Well, that's my problem. It's reality. What am I supposed to do? You don't like me? That's fine. What am I supposed to do? As long as you don't attack me physically and you don't discriminate actively, you can call me however you want. Speech, unlimited. But no, we somehow don't call these guys like that. We call them gay or we call them this. And if you dare to call different names, somehow things change. Someone said that that's unacceptable because they feel offended. Can I be offended by the fact that you feel offended? I said this before, and it's one of my arguments. You want to impose something on me. I feel offended that you feel offended. I feel offended that you try to impose a certain kind of speech and behavior on me. That's tyranny. Tyranny is worse than being offended, don't you think? I would be offended every day, but if I would be pushing some tyranny on you, you will realize that you would switch immediately. Again, we are taught, and the White House had a meeting for this unacceptable thing. Can you believe that? We lost. You. I'm a Johnny-come-lately here. I was educated abroad. I don't have this kind of guilt or anything. I don't have that. I was not conditioned by these idiots. I had to learn certain things, how to maneuver. But I'm from the old world, and I'm not from this thing here. And you guys are losing it. You lose your country. You lose your nation. You lose your culture. Culture, not cultures. And so on. You use your country, my friends. To what? Something better? I don't think so. That's the problem. If that would be, as they say, progress, then yeah, I say progress to what? To the cliff? Progress to the cliff so you can fall. Do something about it. No? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.